Breaking news video, the New Jersey Devils have relieved Lindy Ruff of his head coaching duties and named associate coach Travis Green as interim head coach. I mean, the Devils have had a disaster season compared to expectations. I had them at the top of the division. I won't hide from that. I looked at last year and I looked at what they were building. Obviously, there's a lot of parts here that, so when I made my prediction video at the start, I said the Devils need to get a goalie. They still have not got a goalie. And obviously injuries like Dougie Hamilton have been a problem, but you just look through this article and this was an extremely difficult conversation to leave with Lindy based on the relationship that he and I have. I mean, Fitzgerald obviously had a tough time with this, but I mean, the Devils, whether it's losing to the Ducks or getting blown out in a couple games, I mean, it's just been bad. And I mean, there was like a clip also surfacing online that they pulled the goalie but didn't put the sixth man on. Like, it just seems like it was a disaster overall. And I do want to talk about potential trades as well, because I think the Devils got to make some moves past the coaching change here. And I think it's got to be for now, but also the future. Because at this point, like, is it too late? I think it might be too late, guys. Like, we're in March, and the Devils don't really have a good shot at making the playoffs. Like, that's horrible for a team that just went as far as they did. And you've got Jack Hughes, and you've got the team you're building around. And I feel like the forward group on paper is still stacked, and they just haven't figured it out. Like, Timo Meier hasn't been what they've expected overall. Toffoli's a pending UFA, so it goes back to what I just put there. Could you talk to Boston about doing a potential trade? Because as I said in my tweet, like, you'd probably have to add to Toffoli because he's a pending UFA versus, like, Allmark's got this year and next. And if you're the Devils, you could probably extend Allmark. You could probably make it attractive to Allmark that he stays. That's a lot to give up if you're the Devils. Mercer and Toffoli. Boston would probably want a lot. And it's 2024 first. Like, that's crazy. I mean, armchair GM's not always reliable, so that's a lot. But Pierre LeBrun was even saying Allmark could be the guy that the Devils target. And Boston's going to want a roster player. So is Holtz enough to move the needle for Boston, who wants to win now? I don't know. And that's why I go to Foley is probably the better chance plus another asset. And this was the quote from LeBron, I believe. If not, then correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, if the Devils don't get Markstrom, Allmark's probably the next option. There's not many options out there that make a lot of sense. So I do think there's going to be conversations, tough conversations. And I did also suggest something like this last week, in that the Devils could be making a trade, again, that's affecting the now, but also the future. And that would be like getting a guy like Kaliev. So I know in this scenario, this person has them flipping it. I don't see that. But Toffoli back to LA. Honestly, if I could look at Toffoli potential destinations right now, it'd be like LA, Boston, Edmonton maybe. Past that, Colorado. Like, those are a few teams, just a list of like potential targets. And sell now, win later. See Toffoli to Edmonton. And then do you just go big and getting Saros? Like, that's the big fish, right? Like, Markstrom wouldn't require nearly that much. I don't think, at least, with no retention. And then, obviously, Allmark would require that much. But Boston won't do a style of trade like that. Like, Boston wants a roster player back to help them now. So, give me your thoughts, guys. Like, there's a lot of scenarios where it's just you fired Lindy Ruff now. You're going with Travis Green. And, sure, you try to fix this season in some way, but it might be too late for saving in terms of making the playoffs. So you just make a couple trades to get you better for the rest of the season, but also just focusing on setting yourself up better next year, because this, for Devils fans, for the Devils organization, this has just been a complete disaster. So give me your thoughts, guys. Travis Green, New Jersey Devils interim head coach. Lindy Ruff is no more. I'd imagine some trades starting. I mean, you got to move to Foley if you can get some good assets. And then past that, Vanacek in a goalie trade, maybe a couple depth pieces. I wonder about the Mercer situation. And then you just signed Timo Meier to that long-term extension. So we'll see, guys. So as I said, trade deadline stream this Friday. Subscribe with the notifications on so you get notified. And always drop a like in your comments down below. Talk soon and see you in the stream.